Hi, everyone. So my name is Jasmine, and today I'd like to share with you about the role of youth in social impact, as well as some new business models for change. So I'd like to share first about how I got involved in the sector. I grew up in Hong Kong, and when I was 16, I had a conversation with one of my teachers about girls' education. And I learned that in many areas, in many rural areas in China, there were a problem about girls' education in that after 9 years of compulsory education, a lot of girls choose to drop out of high school because their families prefer them to work and save up money for their brothers to go to school. So at that time, I felt that it was incredibly unfair. And together with some friends, I started a project called Ember, where we wanted to raise scholarships for girls to go to school in an area that's in rural Guangdong, just a few hours away from Hong Kong. And so we had this really ambitious goal. We wanted to raise 100 scholarships. And that year, we worked really hard. We went out and we did a lot of charity fundraisers, we held a concert, we wrote letters to all our friends and family and asked them to support this important cause. And at the end, we did it. We raised 100 scholarships and we went to the school in Guangdong and we held a summer camp with the scholarship recipients, and it was great, it was wonderful. I felt like I made a change, and it was one of the best times of my life. And then I went off to college. I went to Yale and I studied economics and international development. And one day, I received a letter from one of the girls we've supported. And the girl was telling me about how she was very grateful for this opportunity and she really missed us and had a lot of fun at the summer camp. But now she's back working at a clothing factory. It's because after 1 year of support with the scholarship, her family still felt that it was very important, like it was very expensive to go to school, and she had to drop out. So I learned two very important lessons that day. The first was that even when you intended to do good, you have to be very careful about the long-term impact of your actions. I like to call this the principle of do no harm. So even though when you're thinking about doing good and making a change in the world, what you're effectively doing is you're changing the baseline. You're changing people's expectations. And if you're unable to carry through to your goals, if you're unable to continue your support, then actually people might be left feeling worse off, either physically, emotionally, or financially. And the other lesson I learned was the difference between charity and philanthropy. So I wanted to ask you guys, first of all, do you know the definitions of charity and philanthropy? And I'm going to give you 3 options. And I would like to see if you would think which one is charity and which one's philanthropy. So the first option is about immediate relief for an immediate need and suffering. So who thinks that this is the definition of charity? Please raise your hands. Okay, I see a few hands over here. Who thinks this is definition for philanthropy? Okay, no one. All right, so for the second definition about solving addressing a solution to solve a root cause, who thinks this is the definition of charity? So no one. And how about philanthropy? Okay, a lot of you guys. And the last one, it's about solving a social problem using a commercial approach. Charity? Philanthropy? Okay, a few hands here and there. So I think most of you guys are right. So this is charity. Charity is when you want to address an immediate need, a direct solution to relieve suffering. Philanthropy is about finding solutions to root causes, so thinking more about the long-term impact and systemic change. And finally, for the last one, that's actually a very new approach, and a lot of people call this a social enterprise. So maybe just to use a parable that I really like about the difference between charity and philanthropy. So this is a parable about saving babies. So a bunch of villagers one day found that in their river there were some babies floating down, and they were drowning. So they decided to swim into the river and try to save these babies and provide them with food, shelter, and clothing. And that's something we would call charity. And then day after day, this happened, and people started thinking, why are these babies floating down the river? Maybe we should, go upstream and find out what's the root cause of the solution. So that's philanthropy. If you go upstream and try to think about, is there a way we can eradicate the problem from its roots? In our society, both charity and philanthropy are equally important, because you also need to, rescue victims, but also think about how you can eradicate the problem from the roots. And so I got very interested in this whole idea of philanthropy and social innovation. And during my time at Yale, I took some courses on philanthropy. And one of the very new trends in philanthropy got me very interested. It's the idea of venture philanthropy. That's something that's related to some philanthropists calling out, saying that after so many years of conducting philanthropy, after trillions of dollars spent in this field, why are there still so many social problems that we haven't addressed? So they thought about how maybe they should shift their approach. So traditionally, a lot of people conduct philanthropy. They want to do good and feel good about it. But these advocates of venture philanthropy think that we should use a more rigorous approach to measure our own impact and hold ourselves accountable. So they advocated using some venture capitalist approaches and borrowing from them in philanthropy. So thinking about performance measurement, thinking about due diligence, and even exit strategies about how we can solve this social problem for good so that we no longer be in business. And so when I first moved to China after I graduated, I was having a lot of conversations with young people, and I wanted to engage in philanthropy, and I wanted to hear their thoughts as well. And I noticed one thing about young Chinese people. A lot of them are incredibly passionate about social issues, but to them, philanthropy was something that was far away. They think that philanthropist is someone like Bill Gates or Jack Ma, rich and at a mature stage of their career. But one of my friends and I, Connie and I, thought that that doesn't have to be the case. And we wanted to prove that young people could be philanthropists too. And so we thought individually, maybe we don't have that many financial resources, but what if we pull together everyone who wanted to make a difference? So that's why we resorted to crowdfunding. So who here knows about crowdfunding? You've heard about it. Yes, it's the idea of pulling a small amount of resources from a large group of people. And so we had a campaign, and we said, why wait? Why do we have to wait until we're old before we can be philanthropists? And we set a goal, and we raised nearly $20,000 in a few weeks. And that was incredibly powerful. One of the images we used from the campaign was we asked all our friends to upload a photo of themselves onto Aging Booth, which is a mobile app, and so it will age them 50 years. And then they will put up this photo and say, why wait? Give early, give smarter. We want to be philanthropists now. And this campaign was incredibly successful, and it showed that people do want to make a change now, but they want to make a change in a smart way. And so Philanthropy in Motion is born. We call Philanthropy in Motion PIM for short, and we are a young people's foundation. The idea is that we would crowdsource funds from young people around the world and then train a group of university students to manage that fund. And they will go out to investigate different social causes that they care about and find the most effective, promising, impactful organizations to support. But other than just financial resources, we also want them to contribute their own skills and ideas. So I'd like to share a video about our programs.
Welcome to PIMS Model Foundation, the first foundation in the world where young people manage and distribute funds to aspiring social organizations. These funds are pooled together through crowdfunding from hundreds of young people around the world. Every summer, selected students from universities around the world come together to act as the managers of this PIM fund. Our students come from diverse backgrounds, but they share a common goal in understanding China's social sector and making real impact. Through Model Foundation, students examine, interview, and debate about the different China-based organizations that have applied for funding.
You want to argue that with some people? You can argue that with some people.
After serious engagements with all the contending organizations, the students then have to make a group decision on where the money should go.
I feel like these two get what they want, and then we support as much as we can with these guys.
I think that what PIM offers is a very particular experience that's not available in a lot of places because it's so interactive.
Actually get you to think and gets you to be inspired all the time.
You really feel you are making a change.
Held at the University of Hong Kong, Model Foundation gives students training and core skills to be leaders that create positive social change.
Who are you? What skills do you have? How can you help as you to make a difference?
Through the program, they have the opportunity to engage deeply with the distinguished philanthropists, business leaders, and academics. PIMS Model Foundation allows individuals to practice smart giving from an early age. Through these conversations and workshops, students discover their personal and professional potential to take the lead in smart giving in their communities. Join our community of young philanthropists. Give early, give smarter through PIMS Model Foundation.
So to sum up, that's what we've been doing for the past 2 years. We've been running programs where we crowdsource funds from young people and then training youths to be philanthropists, to think about how they can engage in a more meaningful manner. We give them tools to conduct due diligence, to analyze organizations, and also think critically about what are their skill sets that can contribute to those organizations. And our vision is really this. We wanted everyone, no matter their age, to think of themselves as a potential change maker. And there are many ways of doing that. Some people with good ideas and a passion would want to become a social entrepreneur. Others might want to go on to a more traditional career, but they want to volunteer their time and donate what we can call earning to give. There might be some who want to be an entrepreneur, so someone who makes change within their own organizations or workplaces. Or others can be advocates on social media and just spread the word for others to share about effective causes. There's many ways of making a difference, and what we want to promote is just you should get started, and you should think about how you can have a mission-driven career, the way you wanted it to be. So I'd like to end with a quote from Margaret Mead, who is one of America's most famous cultural anthropologists. One thing she said was that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that has ever had done. So as I want to leave you with a final thought when you think about your own lives and your own careers. What can you do to give smarter? What can you do to do good better? Thank you, everyone.